Greg, thank you so much for giving such detailed instructions for planning a successful hybrid event. I'm sure many will find that useful. Hi, everyone. I'm Kaylee O'Donnell, an event industry specialist with Eventtitans. Now, I'm excited to say that we are now announcing our first hourly winner for this event. Now, this is actually a feature included in our solution, and you have up to 10 different ways to select random winners. And now, here we go. I hope you all are as excited as I am. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And our winner is... Oh, the screen is too small for me to see. Let me see. Our winner is Natalia Daniels. Congratulations, Natalia. You will be receiving an email soon on how to access your award. Congratulations again, and everyone stay tuned for our next announcement for our winner. Now, I'm honored to introduce our next speaker, Mahaganey. Now, Mahaganey is the founder of Event Specialist, one of Canada's preeminent event management and production firms. She is also one of the first Canadian event professionals to become a certified digital event strategist. She has also won many awards due to her contributions to the events world, including the 2021 Event Professional of the Year and Top 100 Most Influential People in the Events Industry. Welcome, Mahaganey.
Thank you for having me. All right. Now, I feel like 2020 is behind us. I also feel like it's starting to really creep up again, which is why the title of our session today is Event Production Beyond 2020. Now, even pre-COVID, there were the same reasons that we were hosting hybrid events. And the reasons that we were hosting hybrid events ring true even more now than they did before, as planners look for ways to salvage and even grow new revenue opportunities. I mean, hybrid events were created for audience expansion, for national mandates, for opportunities for those who are unable to attend, and it gives them a chance to attend in the future. It gives us a chance to enhance the experience that we're offering and also offer on-demand sessions. It allowed us to establish ourselves as education leaders, as experts. It gave us new revenue opportunities. And then it also, of course, added value for physical sponsors by allowing digital exposure. None of this is new. And to hear that we are pivoting to hybrid, going back to hybrid, choosing hybrid, truth be told, hybrid was always an option. It was an option that we often feared. So what have we learned about events, especially since the pandemic? To be honest, virtual terminology has changed attendee expectations. How many times have we heard Zoom fatigue? We heard that in the last session. We heard that umpteen times in the last 18 months. What about Zoom fatigue? Now, do we ask the same question about Netflix fatigue? Do we have concert fatigue? We're hearing that sponsors want even more, but yet, truth be told, in an in-person experience, sponsors still had to work the same trade show floor, had to work the same events the same way they do online. I feel like organizations are grappling with keeping their events fresh and innovated and having everything in an online format that directly matches their in-person. And then that brings us to technology. In my personal opinion, I feel like technology is allowing us to enhance what we do well. It's allowing us to take what we're learning, to take our events and reimagine what they can look like. So for me, I feel like March 2020 seemed to be a reset button. For many others, and this is a no judgment zone, it was a panic button. March 2020 meant we all panicked when it came to production. And I would like to remind us that we are event planners, we are event producers, and we are in a space because we bring value. We bring value, we understand the core value of an event, and we're here to bring it back to the core goals and objectives. So what is production? I feel like this word has become a little bit blurred, just like a lot of the other terminologies that we're using in the last 18 months. Truth be told, I even feel like hybrid has become a buzzword. What really is hybrid? I mean, in its truest form, it's the marriage of an in-person and an online experience. It is what's bringing our events to life. Now, from a hybrid perspective, I honestly believe that we have always had this in our toolkit. It was just underutilized in many different scenarios. So in my personal opinion, I feel like the way to enhance our production as we move forward is to stop focusing on what used to work, what was, and the panic when it comes to events. I want us to focus on a digital first model. Now, let me just explain a little bit. When I say digital first, I mean digital first in the aspect that pre-pandemic, I feel like the virtual side of our hybrid events was an afterthought. It was when we thought, oh my goodness, we've sold out in person. Let's add a virtual component to see if we can extend that audience, versus let us design an experience that will allow us to marry in person and online to create a wonderful customer journey. So digital first as a design option allows us to make sure that we are making an event or producing an event that is relevant to our audiences and that meets our goals and objectives. When I say production, lighting, camera, all of the tools, the things that we work with our AV partners to provide, I feel like we've lost sight of what it is we're looking to deliver at an event. We're starting to see the questions from fellow planners and fellow producers that are saying, I want to produce something that will outdo the event from last year. Producing is only as good as the content that you're delivering. Let me repeat that. Producing a conference and making sure that you have the best sound and lighting when their content falls flat will still make sure that your event content falls flat. In the production world, I like to remind everyone that leading with a digital first mentality allows us to ensure that the content we're delivering meets its mark. It allows us to focus on the growth and the opportunities that live within that event. What is it we're looking to accomplish? Content is king, and we keep hearing that, and we hear it over and over. But when it comes to our event design and the production that we're looking to provide for the events, I really want to challenge fellow producers and planners to look deeper into what we're doing. Production is a little bit more than the screen we see, adding the names, the plates that we see, adding logos. We try to put that here. All of those things, while they enhance the quality, they don't make the content. When we start to produce content for ourselves, I like to think of it as almost a TV show. Like I said, Netflix fatigue, concert fatigue doesn't really exist. Why? Because we're there to enjoy the content we want to enjoy. The same applies for the events that we're producing. So if we're having Netflix fatigue, we're noticing that the audiences aren't staying on as long, we're seeing all of these things, let's look at the design elements of our production. Let's make sure that we're designing with our attendees in mind. Truth be told, there was a survey put out by Event Manager Blog, and the survey said that 28% of event profs were able to pivot to virtual profitably, while 10.8% were actually able to exceed their physical event. What does that tell me? It tells us that there's opportunity in the virtual space and even more opportunity in the hybrid space, because event design is what will give us our ROE, not just numbers, not just the fanciest platform. You want to make sure it works for you. You want to make sure that the choices you're making for your audience reflect the goals and objectives that you're doing. Here you can see on the Eventtitans platform, they're producing into the platform and making sure that they control everything that the audience is seeing. They've designed with the attendees in mind. They're ensuring that every content and every session that we're putting out there is being received in the way that they want the audience to receive that content. When it comes to production, I do like to say sometimes it is best to pre-record, and it is okay to also pre-record to make sure that you protect, we'll say, the quality of the content that's being delivered. Production value can go up and it can go down just based on the levels of intention that are being put into that design. Don't be afraid to ask your AV partners what works best for them. Look at your hybrid event space. I mean, we're in the hybrid event world. I will say it is going up and down depending on where you live in the world and what your different regulations are. but think of hybrid as an opportunity to have that micro experience in person. That in-person audience for your hybrid event is a chance to really elevate that in-person experience and make it a little bit more VIP. The trick from production side is we always knew that we had to have great lighting and great setup for the virtual audience when we were producing hybrid. I want to challenge you to take it one step further and think of the perceived and unperceived biases that people may have when watching your event. You want to protect the quality of the event that's being delivered, but you also want to protect what is being shared. And what I mean by that is many venues were starting to cringe when we see too many people in a certain space. Certain countries, we still have mask rules and things like that. So when we see venues that don't have those rules in place, it also makes us a little bit uncomfortable when we're watching from our computer screens. But keep that in mind. And keep all of the different aspects of your production in mind when you're doing these things. Ask the questions, ask your partners, see what resonates with everyone involved. And there is nothing wrong with producing your event with your attendees in mind. There's nothing wrong with asking them, will you attend in person? Will you prefer to attend online? Think of it as a full customer journey and what you are looking to accomplish. Now, while we're a little bit more forgiving in a virtual space, we are more discerning when it comes to content. So I like to remind everyone and the clients we're working with and even our own internal team, we like to have the reminders that the content that we're putting out is key to the event. And I only say that, unless your event is focused on networking, then we focus on networking. If your event is focused on the content, then you focus on the content. But your production should really match what it is you're looking to accomplish. Everyone is starting to see that we are capable of doing Netflix-style content. We are capable of doing TV quality productions and broadcasts. 18 months ago, I would say most people didn't know what a lower third was, or title cards and all of these things that we're starting to see in broadcasts that are regularly part of the program. I want to challenge you to really make sure, yes, content is always the king. We want to make sure that we're really giving focus on the actual, let me rephrase that. I want to make sure that we're shedding light and focusing on what it is we're looking to deliver. So I know production sounds like it's a big term, and it gets scary when we start looking at all of those AV budgets and the quotes that are coming. But truth be told, there is a tier. There is a tier involved, and things that, in my opinion, make it valuable are things like sound and lighting. Sound, lighting, and quality. Truth be told, the light you can see above my head is a no-no. However, it is me speaking from my home office, but you start to get the idea. We make things work for us and we make it work for the audience. You can also ask your questions, work with your partners to make sure that the production quality you're looking to have is what's being delivered. I know we work to make sure that the content that we have reflects what we are looking to accomplish. And I know it was a very fast time and we didn't have a lot of time to talk about production, but I want to leave you with a few key points. What can we expect from event production beyond 2020? I'm going to say it again. We're going to lead with digital first. Digital isn't going anywhere. We're going to lead with a digital first mentality, in that the quality of the content we're putting out has to be properly produced. It has to look appropriate, it has to sound appropriate, and it has to deliver the message we want it to deliver. Second, we're going to look at event design. We're going to design for our audience. Hybrid does not have to look the same for everyone. Hybrid can be what works for you and your audience, but we want to make sure that the customer journey is the focus. So the customer journey or attendee journey, whatever you're looking to do, that is your focus. Your hybrid event audience, you're going to think of it as your in-person audience. What do you want them to experience? Your virtual audience, what would you like them to experience? And then you're going to create that customer journey that will marry. For those of you who missed your agenda session, you'll have to go back and watch that to learn a bit more of how to design the agenda to make sure you're meeting the attendees' expectations who are both in person and online. Next thing we're going to look at is really understanding and protecting perceived, we'll say perceived perceptions and the unperceived perceptions. The perception that we are designing an event for our attendees, not just doing it because we have to. So really taking the chance to redesign your content. There is no more, and I will say this, no more need to deliver that 90-minute keynote, that 60-minute session that we deliver every year. One thing the pandemic has taught us is bite-sized content. I mean, TEDx was doing something right for a reason. We want to look at those types of models that we can follow. And then, of course, that perceived notion that we are offering a safe environment to learn. Number 4, we're going to have a look at what works for us. Just because a platform or a technology works for someone else doesn't mean it's going to work for your audience. Production quality for some may be super important. And I say important to the point that we are going to pre-record, design, and really make sure that our videos look like masterclass, like Netflix. You hear that all the time. But that isn't always what our audience wants. Sometimes they are okay with a Zoom record because the content that they're taking in does not have to be uber polished. It is something that can reflect them. And finally, start with your goals and objectives when it comes to production. I mean, I sound like a broken record to many of you who've heard me speak before. I honestly believe we should always go back to goals and objectives, and that is how we can determine the level of production we are looking to deliver. If my goal is to deliver polished quality content in a masterclass style format that can be shared live today and then put on demand, then I will make sure that I have a fully designed set and something that will be conducive to the outcome I'm looking to have. Again, so I'm Mahaganey Jones. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm at Mahaganey Jones on all social media, and you can also find us in the exhibit hall.